Hi everybody, Mama Metal here. How you doing? Hope your week is going good, your month, your year. And this is another episode that's hopefully not going to make me cry, but it might. So you'll just bear with me because we all have emotions and they come out. So tomorrow is going to be a very emotional day for me because my younger son passed away years ago. And his friends wanted to get together, invited me to come down, and they want to have a memorial for my son and talk about him and all the crazy things that he did, all the fun times and not so much fun times, but so it's going to be bittersweet. It is his birthday, and I always do honor him on his birthday, but it will be bittersweet to see his friends I haven't seen some of them in a long time. I talk to them on Facebook, but which is a little bit different than actually getting together with them. So a part of me is really looking forward to it, to seeing some people I haven't seen in a long time and listening to their stories is going to be very interesting. But in a way, it's going to be very heart-wrenching. To lose a child is very hard. It's a very hard thing to go through. A parent should never have to bury their child. So he was naughty. he, he was I lost him to drugs, and I have this on because he was in the service and that was the best time of his life, and he was so good. And I thought, oh my God, he finally saw the light at the end of the tunnel, and he's going to when he gets out, his life is going to be so changed in so many ways, and he did so wonderful. And I went to see him at boot camp up in Chicago, and he was holding a flag, and he told me that they had to practice that for hours, and you had to stand there for like hours, and it's very hard to just stand in one spot like that for hours. A lot of people were passing out, but he had his mindset on he was going to do this, and he did, and I was very proud of him. And they were released, and he was home for Christmas that year, and it was so wonderful to have him home, and he looked so good, and he was so happy. And he went to Norfolk, and I went to visit him down there, and we went on, he was able to take us on a lot of different ships. So I saw an aircraft carrier, and went inside a submarine, which was a little scary, but the aircraft carrier, oh my God, it's like a city. It's unbelievable. He lived off base, and he had a girlfriend at the time, and they lived off base together. And I forget what kind of ship he was on. I don't know if it was the Saratoga, I don't know, it started with an S. I really don't even remember now. But, when he left the service, which I wish he would have stayed in, but when his time was up, I begged him not to come back to New Jersey. Go to Florida by your brother, start a new life, meet new people, do new things. But he came back, and unfortunately, within 9 months, he was back on drugs again. And it was a matter of him being in and out of rehabs, and he would do so well, and he would come out. And I was always hoping for the best, always praying for the best. But in my heart, I knew that someday I would bury him. That I kind of knew. And my adventure of going through that was, as a mother, very heart-wrenching. And I'm sure there's people out there that have gone through the same, whether they lost their child in the war, they lost their child to drugs, they lost their child to an accident. it's heart-wrenching. And it's really hard when they, because he was in the service, they come and they do the ceremony where they do the flag, and the kids had the flag put in a special holder with his name and the date on it, and I have that on top of my desk so I can see it, and I have his Navy picture in there. I was gonna bring it out and show you, but I didn't think that was the right thing to do. But knowing that, he had the ability, but he didn't realize he had the ability. He had the ability to keep himself clean. And when he focused on, like when he was in the service, he focused on what he had to do, what his responsibilities were. And it was so important to him to be like that model soldier. I don't know if you call a Navy man a soldier, but we used to go to it's like flight of ideas here, but we used to go to the Army Air Force game every year, and then we would go to the Army Navy game when they had it down at the Meadowlands. It was only for a few years, but when we would go to West Point, I had a shirt made up and it said US Navy Mom. And the cadets were so cute, like they were saluting me, and they was congratulating me, and wishing my son well, being in the Navy, because they're in the Army, and when I was at the ceremony at his boot camp, the commander, every once in a while, and he would say it like really fast, and he'd be talking about something, he'd say, "Beat Army," but he would say it really fast. It was so funny, because they have such a rivalry together. And it was a lot of fun, and he was a lot of fun, and he was like the mayor. He would talk to anybody, and he always found the humor in things. And but he had a monkey on his back. He had it's hard to say. It was very hard for him to deal. And he died from an overdose of heroin. From what I understand, this stuff is so cheap, and it has some kind of a chemical inside of it that it stays inside of your body. It's not something that was his drug of choice, but for some reason he got hooked on it. So, my message to all of you and to my seniors is, to understand, to help your children, to be there for them, and no matter what. And I was there for him no matter what. And it was very hard, but for any of you who have lost a child, my heart goes out to you. And I understand what you've been through, and you always remember them. I think of him every day. I think of all the fun times we had. I even think of the naughty things that he did, that to me were kind of funny, but they were like mischievous. And he got in trouble in school one time for eating the gumdrops off of somebody's science project. He had to go to detention, and I said to him, "Did you ever think that maybe they had some kind of chemical on those things to stick them on their project, that you could have died if you ate the thing?" So, he's like, "No, I didn't think about that, Mom." I go, "Okay, well, you're alive, so I guess they didn't put anything on there." And he would but he was an incredible athlete. Oh my God. When he was younger, there wasn't a coach that didn't want him. I mean, he could have played ball every night of the week. He was ambidextrous, so he could pitch and bat righty or lefty. So that's a coach's dream, So, and he was He was a shortstop. He was, he was the kid who was telling everybody on the field, move back, like move back, move in, do this, do that. Like he knew the game so well and he was so good at it. And hockey, his favorite thing in hockey was, just hitting somebody against the boards, and he'd get yelled at and they'd sit him down. They put him back out because he was a good hockey player, and he'd do it again. They say, Barry, you can't, you can't hit anybody up against boards. Yeah, okay, coach, And he was an excellent basketball player. Football, he was on defense on the line because he liked to hit, so and you could kind of figure that, and he was always an accident waiting to happen. Oh my God, he was always falling. I don't know how many times he fell to the stands at the game because his brother played too. So, he would play first, and then, we would he would stick around. We watch his brother's game, and he's always fallen to the stand. I was always taking him to the hospital. I said, one of these days they're going to think they're going to call typhus and think that, I'm doing something over here. Because you're always getting hurt, for God's sakes. You got to be careful. He broke the growth line of his ankle because he was sitting on the back of somebody's bike and his foot went in there, and they carry him home to me. Another time somebody had stopped their motorcycle and he wanted to see just how hot this exhaust was. And okay, peeled all the skin off the bottom of his hand, rushed to the hospital. So he was, and then he was riding home on the bike with his brother, fell off, and it was a hill. So he went sliding down this hill. I was picking pieces of gravel out of him. Oh my God, he refused. Then he was older. He wouldn't go to the hospital, and I'm trying to take care of him. He was a mess. Oh my God. But we couldn't get him to go. So I took care of him myself. And I did a pretty good job because I didn't have any scars. So, but unfortunately, his life was cut short. And but I'm looking forward to tomorrow to seeing everybody. I'm going to bring a lot of tissues and some makeup to keep fixing it, because I'll probably look like who knows what. And at least I don't have mascara that runs. So I don't have to look like, something out of, ghost movie. But I am looking forward to it. And I do give my sympathies to all of you out there who have lost, your child to drugs or alcohol. There's kids that can consume an over amount of alcohol and get alcohol poisoning or an accident, or if they were in the service and they died overseas. And my heart does go out to you, and I love you all. And I will pray for you all, because I pray, and I know his spirit is with me. And that sounds stupid, and I don't care if anybody cares whether I feel that way or not, but I feel his spirit is with me, and it always will be. And someday we'll see each other again. So to all of you, have a great day, and think of your children often and love them and care, because life is so short and we never know from day to day. I always say, I wake up in the morning and will you make it home at night? Because you don't know in life what's going to happen. So to all of you out there who have been in the same position as me, I send you my love and my prayers, and I'm so happy that they will be memorializing my son tomorrow, and I get to go and see people I haven't seen in a while, and have some laughs, some tears, some drinks, of course, some drinks. I'm not a big drinker, but I will have some drinks. And I'll see you on my next show, and be happy, and have a good one.